Thoughts. I'm Chris.
I'm Adam.
I'm Jimmy Copperbottom.
I don't
the
know
third.
if that's true or not, but we're back again this week. How's everybody doing?
Doing pretty good.
You didn't bring a change of shirts to
I
make...
feel real similar as I did last week.
Yeah. So I think we've made that joke just about every other episode for 27 episodes. We're almost on episode 30, guys.
I could have changed my shirt. I mean, it's my house.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
That just shows how motivated we are today.
I mean, I hardly ever change my shirt, so this could be normal for me.
Yeah.
Every shirt I have is free, and they probably think we're sponsored by Harley Davidson at this point. So
Yeah,
It's like-
Might be true.
This is a welding shirt.
oh, nice.
It's got holes all up in it.
Yeah. Oh,
Get the 40th anniversary
Why didn't
Wood
you-
Nickel shirt.
hey, that one's
local.
fairly newish.
Valhalla. Shout out to the old local metal band.
Why didn't you weld your shirt back together?
No, thank you.
Okay. All right. So I hear you got some news for us, Topher. What you got?
All right, so
Like a local Fort Wayne news?
for show, I found some shows coming up here for us in June. So I took a look at Brass Rail first. We got Snake Handler Church and Holy Nothing Squirrel Cage with Soot, S-O-O-T. On Thursday, June 8th. That's at the Brass Rail, and after that we got June 15th. We got Alexander Craig and Left Lane Cruiser. Left Lane Cruiser,
Nice.
classic.
They've
Love
been
'em.
around forever, if I remember right. Yeah. Yep.
And then after that, on the 23rd at the Brass Rail, we have Best Sleep and Devin Hopwood and Birdwatch. I love Best Sleep. I've heard of Birdwatch, but I haven't actually got a chance to see them, so I'd like to see that. And then over at O'Sullivan's on June 3rd, we got Pete Dio and the Old and Dirty.
Mhm.
Great. With Dunno Carter and the My Ways. And then on June 23rd at O's, we have Sean's Sunset Party, which is Hazen Soul. It's the last show with their guitarist Sean, and so definitely check that out. Send them off right. They'll be introducing new musicians with them. There's also playing with them is Waiting for Daisy and To Breathe Again.
Mhm.
Great. And also I looked at the Dollhouse. They don't have anything for June. The Dollhouse is a local DIY venue. Check them out on Instagram. They have shows coming up in July, but are not advertised yet.
Cool.
If you have anything else to add to this, let us know, please. There's
Let us know in advance because
Yes.
because the show runs on a couple weeks delay.
I'd like to kind of broaden my spectrum of where I'm looking at for shows.
Do you have any shows coming up?
Well, this will air after the next one. So.
Okay, this one's airing this Thursday,
Oh, this Thursday
I think, isn't it?
is it? Okay, if this one is, yeah.
Yeah.
This coming Saturday is the annual Soul Fest,
Soul Fest, okay.
which is like a fundraiser for Fox Island. It'll be at Matea Park this year.
For non-Fort Wayne folks, Fox Island is our local nature preserve.
It's a county park.
There's no island,
No.
which is a weird name for, yeah.
Yeah.
We're in Indiana. There's not going to be a lot of islands. Yeah.
But that'll be. I should look up the actual lineup. It's really nice. It's a pretty solid concert.
Oh. I said one that's already done. The Pete Duno, that's June 3rd. That's done already.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't think people are going to make it to that unless they...
Don't go to O's on June 3rd. Because you'll be time traveling, and I think that's illegal. Time traveling's illegal right now.
Is it? Okay.
Yes,
That sounds right.
says me.
Okay.
It says Soul Fest is this Saturday, whichever date that is.
Yes.
So it's this Saturday. They have two stages. Main stage, it's got Lost Galaxy Phil Sugar, Whale Hounds, Grateful Groove, Moser Woods, Left Lane Cruiser, and URB. And then an acoustic stage with Patty Whitemoss, Sonny Taylor, Shelly Dixon, Picker and a Grinner, which is Jesse Doyle and our friend Mike Newsom.
Nice.
And then Esther Rose, Gracie Joe, Dan Dickerson, and then I'm closing out the acoustic stage that night.
Nice. That's a good lineup.
Plus, you can like kayak and canoe and stuff while you're there, which is fun.
Neat. Yeah, cool. I'm not doing any of that anytime soon because of the sunburn.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
He looks like a zebra.
I do.
Like a red
It's not
zebra.
good. I'm not putting that on camera. No, that's a different website.
Is that for the page?
Just head over to our Patreon.
We haven't always advertised the empty Patreon.
I haven't checked our email in a while. We might have patrons. I don't know.
They're probably waiting for that content.
Oh Lord.
Every week they say something. They say they're gonna put something on.
Yeah, like I've been paying for this subscription. I'm not getting anything out of it.
Oof. I think we're getting scammed.
You're getting scammed. Hell, I haven't even seen the cash from the Patreon, let alone anything else.
All right.
All right, guys, what are we talking about today?
Today we're talking about looping pedals.
Looping pedals.
Looping pedals.
All right. So, what kind of what's a looper pedal? What are we doing with what do you do with a looper pedal?
What do you do with a looper pedal?
What do you do with looper pedal?
That's approximately what you do with a looper pedal.
That's
I
hate both of you.
So basically it is a recording device that you plug your guitar into, and you tell it to record as you're playing, and then when you're ready for it to repeat what you just played, you push a button again, and it will continually play that same part over and over again.
Let's cut the bull crap. You're the looper expert here, the master looper. Let's which is the better of the master things I suppose you could be.
Yeah.
Why don't you show us an example?
So yeah, sure. We'll start with we'll do a real simple thing. How about
Making the ghosts play the music.
so? Then you just stop playing, and the pedal plays for you.
Interesting. Okay. So if we did something like there we go.
There you go. Now we have two loopers. So, an important thing to remember is if you want to have multiple people using loopers, that you want to buy loopers that have, this is later on down the line, but you want one with a MIDI sync so that your loopers don't get out of time with each other unless you really have the most perfect stomping abilities.
Yeah, I definitely don't.
Yeah.
I don't.
Nope. Do you guys use loopers live, or how do you is this just a practice tool? What's your use cases here?
Personally, I use them a lot for not usually like the board I'm playing through right now is actually my acoustic guitar board, even though I'm plugged in with this. That's primarily what I use it for, is when I'm doing solo shows. If you got to do, for me, it's just practicality of playing for 2, 3, sometimes 4 hours. If you want to not destroy your voice and sing the whole night, you can put instrumental breaks. You can create something to play over the top of, and give yourself a rest from singing.
What about you?
It's practice all the way. Yeah.
Practice all the way.
Because it's mainly just trying to. Whenever I try to do it with a drummer, it's hard.
It's hard to sync everything. You're using a TC Flashback X4, is that right?
That's what I'm using for the acoustic board. Primarily that is because it has 2 loops on it, which you can either run together, or you can have, when you start one, you can have the other one shut off. So you could do like a verse, chorus, or such.
And I'm sorry, I misspoke. TC Ditto X4.
Ditto X4, yeah.
Very cool. And you use a Ditto X2?
Yep, X2.
Cool. Very cool. And I'm over here. I got my nice little Boss DD8, which is actually a delay pedal that just happens to have a looper function. And you and I are on the same page here. I only use mine as a practice tool, which is why I don't have a dedicated looper on my board. I can just switch it over to nice little loop mode.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll,
Which I think probably one of the uses that a lot of people use it for is practicing coming up with ideas.
right. Yep. Because I can just put something very simple in the background and then noodle over top of it.
Mm-hmm.
When I forgot what I was gonna ask. What else you got?
Yeah. So I think that a lot of times when I see someone using a looper like live, at least in local contexts, it's play a section of chords, have it repeat so I can play some lead over the top, which is a valid way to fill time, and I do that myself sometimes. Another use of it live is if you want to slowly build up like a structure of a song by like layering parts over the top of each other. So oftentimes, at least with this one, you hit the loop button and you hit it again, and it's going to loop that first part. Hit it again, it's going to record over that. So you can pretty much, most loopers, you can endlessly loop parts over the top of the same part. So I guess
cool.
for context, let's if I do say start with a chord structure. So there's a guitar, right? And then this is the Electro-Harmonix B9 bass machine set to a precision sound. So now I've got a bass line.
You really hope we don't get flagged by YouTube for this.
Yeah, well, if there's a lag, it's because the latency in the thing is making it a little hard to play to. But
So I'm guessing this can layer up to 4 tracks based on.
right, that's all just the one loop.
Oh, really? Okay.
So that's so you can overdub as many times as you want on one loop.
Gotcha.
And then you can also subsequently switch to a different loop. So wait for it to get there. So now I have 2 separate loops. So now when that loop finishes this time, it's going to go back to the other one because I tapped the other button.
Well, that's nifty. Wow. Huh.
And then you can just
Nice.
so it lets you craft different parts.
So have you ever had these go awry on you on stage?
I absolutely have.
Yeah.
You can see I put those big buttons on there so that
Yes.
makes it a little harder to miss.
Yep.
I would tell you anybody who wants to try and do like solo kind of gig with a looper to practice a lot with it before you actually try and perform, because it does take some practice, especially just to make sure that you're on the beat every time. Because even if you don't fail to miss the pedal and you hit everything right, if you're not just on time, trying to play a lead over a part that doesn't quite start right gets a little jerky. It takes practice. And that said, you always want to start it like on the 1, and you're gonna end it right as you hit that 1 again, so you have the exact count.
So this is your acoustic board that you're using right now?
Yes.
And that Ditto X4 stays on there?
That one stays on there. Yeah.
I would just want to say that it's bold of you to put it in the back. A lot easier to reach if those big buttons when they're in the front.
They're taller than that other part, so
Yeah.
Oh, man, it's still
I like them
awfully
to be
bold.
high up. I don't know.
You're awfully bold.
Yeah, I guess. So yeah, I think I think my favorite way of using it though is really like being able to have something to fill time, but also like if you want to like entertain people live, and after a few hours of somebody singing and playing an acoustic guitar, like depending on the artist, they can at a certain point can get a little tiresome or whatever. So if you can be like, oh hey, I hear a bass line or I hear something else going on, it kind of fills that out.
Now, seeing as you're both singers, do you ever use loopers for your voice or just no?
I at home for fun.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't usually loop vocal parts live. Partly because the loopers that I have are all quarter-inch in guitar
makes sense.
input level. Some of the bigger ones, especially from like Boss, have both guitar and mic inputs, which then it makes it a little easier. And in those cases, you can even like throw a couple mics on like a kick and a snare and sit down and play a drum part and then get up and so.
No, that's a Boss RC 1000, is it? Or RC?
500 and 600 both
Okay.
have the mic inputs. I know.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
What else?
Oh yeah. So I think a good thing to point out, because yours is essentially, when yours is set up as a looper, it is a one button looper, whereas either the one that I have here, the smaller version, which we'll get a photo of too of Topher's, those are both two or more button loopers. They're, when you're coming to live performance, especially if you need to stop things, and
You want the second button.
or stop and delete, having a second button makes things a lot easier. In this case, you have a dedicated loop button, and which does the play and then the record overdub, and then you have a dedicated just stop button, which means tap it once.
Yep. And you can definitely tell, like, if I go to play a line and I have to. There it is. I have to wait for it to end.
So if yours is going right, so that's the DD8. If you're playing a loop and you're going, when you're ready to just stop the loop, what do you need to do?
Oh yeah.
But you want to be able to play it again.
Yep. So that's a good question. I think I just hit it once, but let's find out here.
You were playing actually.
Oh.
You're still. Yeah, there you go.
Let's try it again.
Okay.
So I want to stop it.
See, now you're overdubbing.
Oh yeah. I guess I am.
So the reason
I guess it is, isn't it?
It is.
It could be anything. Yeah. Huh. Yeah, there's a lot of complicated features that you deal with when you deal with a single button, or you have to put a controller on it.
So yeah, the point I was getting at is if you're performing live, having a one button looper just for practice is awesome, just to work out with. But for performing live, just to explain, the majority of one button loopers, you press them once to record, press it again to play back. If you want to stop it, you have to tap it twice quickly. And if you want to stop it and delete it completely, you're going to press and hold it down.
Yep.
So there's you have to learn a bunch of actions with one button. So if you're if you're a singer-songwriter performer and you're doing vocals, everything else,
That's what makes it
like
tricky.
Yep.
having the other kind, if I'm recording like a loop and then I want to stop it, I should probably start playing something. So if I'm in the process of singing something, whatever, then when I'm ready to get to the next section, it's just one. Sorry, that was twice, but it's because I hit the button wrong at an angle. So yeah, it's just one button. So
Beans.
there you go. It's stopping. I have it set to stop at the end of the loop.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that should probably explain that. Because I want it to complete the cycle. But yeah, so for me, I hit one button to stop it, which when you're singing, if you're trying to do something in tempo and you got to do two quick taps, it's awful.
Yep.
unless you really practice it. So I highly recommend something that has a 2-button functionality.
And I can barely remember to hit one button at one time that's why if you look at my board, it's all labeled. Because I do not remember what does what, and so I'm not going to remember all these little motions in between.
Yeah. And then some loopers like this one, they oftentimes will have a MIDI input or output. I didn't set up for this, but you can also sync them with other things. So if you're playing live, say you want to have some backing tracks or you want to have some drum tracks or something, you can actually sync this with a drum machine, and that way if you have the drums playing and you have the tempo and it is the master for the tempo, when you go to record with your pedal looper, it always going to start on the correct beat and end on the correct beat.
Nifty.
So you can kind of bypass some mistakes there.
Cool. Got anything?
Yay!
Oh,
Uh,
I don't think I have any more questions.
there is some tricks and tips that you can.
Oh yeah, let's hear some let's hear some tips and tricks.
There's a
Ticks and trips.
So some loopers like this one have effect sections. I think yours has the same has some of that, like half speed reverse thing.
Yeah.
So say you don't have like an octave pedal,
Right.
or something of that nature, or you want to have like a high part or something like that. You can we'll record something to start with. It's something simple. So there's just 2 chords. So now, if you're really good at timing, and I'm probably gonna screw this up, but
Nice.
so you want a high part on there. If you record it at half speed and bring it back up, then your guitar just went an octave higher. Now you can also do the same thing if you're. So this one also does double speed, right? It's got very 8-bit.
Yes.
That's really hard to get that timing, but it'll serve the purpose.
Is this a new level in Zelda?
I think so. Secret level.
So now you have an octave below it too.
Oh,
So if you
wow.
record it double speed and you drop it back to normal, whatever you played it goes an octave lower. My timing was not very good right now, but you can do some real interesting things.
Yeah. Yes.
I think you can do a tape stop. So it's not just like an effect to do it at half or full. You can actually use it as a tool to make things.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Neat.
Neato.
Yeah, that's something.
I didn't think about a lot of questions for this.
That's okay.
Yeah.
They don't have to be long.
Yeah, I don't have a. There's not much. Loopers are. I mean, they're tricky, but they're straightforward.
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a go no go, right? It's just
Cool.
there's not much to it other than that. Placement. Oh, that's one thing. Placement of loopers, right? That's something that can get interesting real fast. So if you put in, like, mine is at the end of the chain of my pedal board, which means whatever I have turned on in front of it is going to be recorded. Right. So if I record with the bass pedal on, it's going to have a bass line. But then if I turn that off and record over the top, like, you're going to still have the bass line that was recorded, plus the new part that is not that. If you put the effects after it, everything you record, if that effect is on, goes through that effect.
Right.
So, not that that's necessarily bad. If you have a lot of stuff going on and it's acoustic, you could put a light compressor afterwards and even out your sound if you want.
I've got a good example for you. So on my board, I have a reverb trim after the looper. So
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, let's see what it sounds like. Okay. But that's a pretty good idea.
Yeah. So the interesting thing is live that can get messy real fast. It can be interesting for experimental purposes if you want to try like, hey, this is the part that I just recorded. For practicing and coming up with tones, it can be useful to have it early in the stage because you can record a guitar riff, and then you can, without having to play it again, you can step down and go, okay, I'm going to try 6 different gain pedals. I don't know which one I like.
Which is what a lot of those demo channels do. And I can't think of the famous one. The guy that's all he did was just put down the one looper and then yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Knobs. That's
Knobs.
it. Knobs.
There you go.
So there's the Ditto, there's the DD8. What any notable ones that are like really cool to check out?
Boss RC series, I think, is the one that Katie Tunstall was famous for using.
They're the like, not originators, but they're like the standard forever is Boss.
Here's the thing. Anytime anybody ever asks us for a recommendation, just assume we're going to say Boss.
I've never gotten to use one, but a famous one that a lot of people have used and is still in existence, I think on a Mark III at this point, the Boomerang loopers. That was one of the early brands that had separate buttons to do everything on the pedal.
I had a budget one I really liked. It was a stereo. It was the Moon stereo looper, and that I think I bought for like $40, and it was basically a clone of the Ditto X2, and it was pretty nice. I traded it for something. I forget what I traded it for. Something a little bit better, but yeah, it worked pretty well.
And if you're not sure if you want a looper, a great thing to start with is like a Boss DD8 or one of anything in the last few versions of it.
Yep.
TC Flashback that has has one of those in it as well.
Yep. The multi-use pedals.
Yeah, that way you're like, oh, I need a delay pedal, but it has this looper function that at least lets you get an idea if you like that or not.
Yeah, that's a good idea. As I say, 'cause I was gonna say there's the single Ditto, like the single button Ditto, but like then again, if you find out it's not for you.
Now, if you're the type of person who's a little bit insane like Adam over here, you can get something. I think it's like is it the Mood, or is it what am I thinking of?
Oh,
Chase Bliss.
The Chase Bliss. I'd love to get one of those.
Yeah, where it's purposely going to go off time a little bit, and it's going to be a little bit of like, it's supposed to sound like a tape that's warping over time, and it's entirely just supposed to be destroying your loops and rebuilding them the whole time.
Yeah, a lot of their pedals listen to your signal all of the time,
Yes.
and then you can choose when to play back parts of it. So it's a little odd.
And then you can, on the fly, warp everything as you want to.
So, any noteworthy artists that you can think of to check out that do use loopers?
Yeah, Katie Tunstall is, I think, the one that started the trend. The Big Black Horse and a Cherry Tree, I think, is probably the one that folks know.
Yep.
You got anybody
And I'm
else?
trying to think of the dude that plays like every instrument on stage.
Michael Kelsey?
Is that Michael Kelsey?
He's one of them. He does that kind of deal. He does like story, like he tells a story, and then like as he goes, he has like a tailor, and he does like the Khaki King kind of tapping on the body and everything to get all the different sounds.
I was trying to look up somebody, but I can't remember what is. Yeah, but I think that is who it is. There's a lot of people. They used to have one. I know Boss used to hold like a competition every year for like looping pedal use, and like you'd see some incredible like players where it's like, oh, I have a digital drum pad here. I've got some keyboards, a guitar, a wind instrument. You'll see them just get up and play all these parts and craft whole songs. That's
And correct me if I'm wrong. Doesn't Pentatonics do that with vocal loops? I want to say
They may.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not that familiar. I mean, I know who they are, but
There's an Australian artist that I like a lot, Tosh Sultana.
uh-huh.
They're really good.
Nice.
They're watching them dance around their pedal board is just so much fun. There's also that one guy that's been pretty big on YouTube, Mark Ruff. No, not Mark
The
Ruff.
Hulk.
No. God, what is his name?
It's got to be hard to hit
there's
those pedals with the giant green feet.
I don't know. Tosh is my big one.
Yeah.
But yeah.
The one other thing I just forgot, because neither of our pedals that we have down here today do this, but there are a lot of them that do, including most of the Boss ones that are at least above the bottom level. A lot of brands, they will have you can actually save quite a few loops in it. Like I've got behind you a Loop Station RC5.
Yes.
That one you can save 100 loops on. Yep. Which means for a live performance, if you actually want to have something there that you're a little afraid to play live, you can have it actually saved in there and have it start with a song. Mm-hmm. You can even like drop whole tracks onto there to practice to.
There's USB in it.
Yeah, you could literally take out the lead guitar tracks on a song, drop it on there, and have it as a playback device.
Nice.
So some loopers have some pretty advanced functionality. That also has a drum machine built into it.
That's cool.
So for practice purposes, it's pretty fun. But yeah, so there's a whole wide variety of looping styles.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely recommend it, at least as a practice tool.
Cool. Got a tip for us?
Oh yeah, we do have a tip for the day. So, tip for the day: your pedal tuner, pedal tuner placement. If you put it at the beginning of your board, closest to your guitar signal, then any of the other effects in your board if you have left them on, are not going to obscure your ability to tune.
Yes.
Especially if you have like modulation effects going, and it acts just as an immediate kill switch. Right.
Yeah.
Now, if you put it later in the board, it will act like if you have a lot of high gain, you could use it as a kill switch. But it also, it's not going to tune very well.
Right. So here's a good example. So if I was to use my looper too. My guitar is muted right now. That's a good reason to put it at the end.
So you can entertain the audience, and then. While they're being entertained by your loops, you can tune.
Actually, that's not a bad idea. Yeah. There you go.
Might have to move my where my preamp out is on this.
You could put a tuner at the front and back, and then
You could.
the mute switches both directions.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Probably better ways to do that, but
Maybe. Volume pedal.
I mean, I guess. Then you're not as in tune as if you had two tuners.
That's just. Did you see that there was like I think it was Pedal Boards of Doom or one of them. The guy's pedal board was like he had like I don't know what brand. I think it was a Boss maybe or a Korg, but like the pedal tuner was at least half of the pedal board. It was this big. It was the whole front of the board.
Whoa! Well, it wasn't the old Boss tuner, was it? That was just like.
It wasn't rack. It was a pedal one, but it was
Really?
just huge.
Weird.
And it was like that, and then he had room for like 3 other things on the back of the board.
Jeez. That's like those guys that take the old Big Muff pedals and then put mini pedals on top of it because it's so big. Oh man. You look contemplative.
I'm just tired.
Yeah.
We got anything else you guys want to share this week?
I think we're good. I think we're coming up on it.
Cool.
Go see some shows, people. It's summer.
Stay in school.
It's summer. There's no school.
Oh man.
Go see some shows. Go support your live local musicians. All that fun stuff.
Yeah.
All right. You're determined to get us YouTube strike, aren't you?
Yes.
With all that said, everybody, we're out for the week. So Tune up.
Crank the volume.
Let her rip.